Traditional filmmaking usually happens behind closed doors. TAOS is doing the exact opposite. As an open production, it invites artists from all over the world to watch, learn, and actually participate in the process. In this video, Gabriel Soto sits down with creative producer Rebekah Hartwig and Goodbye Kansas lead animator Christina Sidoti to talk about the upcoming motion capture phase for TAOS. They take us behind the scenes of planning the 3D space in Previs, navigating the challenges of a massive global collaboration, and bringing in the high-end VFX expertise of Goodbye Kansas. Most importantly, they discuss why taking creative risks and embracing mistakes is the best way to let this story evolve.
So Christina, officially, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Rebekah, nice to meet you as well. I'm Gabriel. I'm responsible for the marketing and communications here at the TAOS project. We have been doing a lot of great stuff, as you guys are seeing, not only with the movie itself, but the whole process and the whole partnerships that we secured. It's been an amazing journey, and I'm really glad to be able to chat with you guys. So to start, I think that we can start with a quick introduction. So could you please introduce yourselves and your role? I can start with Christina, and then Rebekah can go ahead.
Okay, hi, I'm Christina Sidoti, and at Goodbye Kansas, I'm lead animator. I also do animation supervision and direction. But at TAOS, I'm doing a layout supervisor, because I also at Goodbye Kansas do some layout work. I work with that team as well, so they've taught me all that they know, and throughout my entire career I've been doing setting up cameras with animation as well, so character animation, cameras, and cinematography. And I also do some photography on the side, so like understanding that camera world.
That's great. It's a lot of cameras from different types of settings, right?
Studying film, cinematography. Yep.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And what about you, Rebekah? What's your role? What's your introduction to us?
Yeah, I'm Rebekah Hartwig, and I am a producer at Make, located in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I am the creative producer for TAOS. So I say a little bit of 3D animation, and so that's what I mostly focus on with production work, is more for like our 3D department.
Oh, that's great. And what kind of work do you usually do, like on a daily basis? Like, what's your day-to-day schedule for people that don't know much about production?
For me, it's just making sure that everything is on rails and making sure that the artists have what they need, assets. I communicate with the client. I specifically work in commercial and advertisements. So I'm the main communication between the artists and the client. So that is mainly my role, is just going back and forth, but just making sure, yeah, the schedule, we're on track of all of our deliveries, and kind of being detail oriented on our sends. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. A lot of back and forth, as you mentioned, right? Reaching out to people. Hey, is everything fine there? You need anything? That's great. That's very, very helpful. Christina, what about you? What do you do on a daily basis?
I work across film, commercial, game cinematics, game trailers. Most recently, I was animation director on Control 2's reveal trailer. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so we've got a lot of these trailers, and so I did the layout on Arc Raiders. I think it was the reveal trailer also. So that was really fun. And we go right from storyboard into, so you take the storyboards, put them in a Fortomatic, take it right into Maya and sort of match it up. And that was the process for that Arc Raiders trailer. And that's sort of what we're doing here in the same way. But I might have, you might have seen some of the TV work that I've done, because I've done like Sparus for Carnival Row, which is like a humanoid flying monster, and animation supervisor on a series of Unfortunate Events, these like eagles flying. And my grossest maybe is the grinder scene for The Walking Dead, where all the the zombies are walking into the grinder. Has anyone seen it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, partially responsible for that.
Yeah, I was also checking the GBK site, and I was impressed by how many games you guys have worked on. Like, I'm a gamer guy. I work with video games. I've been working in the industry for 20 years, and I saw that you guys have, besides our creatives, you guys have huge projects like Alan Wake and lots of games that are really impressive on the CG side, on the cinematics. So yeah, and I would like to take the opportunity also to ask about GBK. What is GBK? What can you tell us about the company? What you guys exactly do?
I've been at Goodbye Kansas for 10 years, actually. And it actually, I think the longest person there might be Stefan Linder, and he was there for 20 years. But it hasn't always been under the name of GBK. So it's been under other names. The most recently, the big merger, which I think was 2019, was Pixel Grinder, Fido, Bleck, and oh, now I'm in trouble. and the Mocap Studio, Imagination Studios, of course. And I think there were some more involved there, that there were like Infinite Entertainment came on later. They were picking some things up. So, but just a history from both of like mocap, film, and commercial work, gaming work, and then they all sort of came together. And I would say like we got very globally known around 2019, which was oh god, what was the one with the Keanu Reeves, one of our favorite?
The Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk. They're gonna kill me for that slipping my mind. So I would say that one put us on the map. Like that's when our salespeople would show up at meetings, and like people were really like, everybody knew who Goodbye Kansas was then.
I can skip. So
yeah,
I'm so sorry to interrupt.
That's fine, Rebekah. No worries. But I was there, Christina, when at E3 when the trailer was announced with
cool.
with Keanu Reeves on stage, and it was like a huge moment for gaming. We even have like an improvisational moment where he joked with the community. He played something with the community, and it was very amazing to see the reactions. And that's the effect of having a good trailer, right?
Yeah, I mean, I love him from Speed.
Oh yeah, me
I
too.
love this as a kid.
And at what stage do you typically get involved, Christina? Like when you start like actively working in a project? Is it like right from the beginning? Do you get the project when it's already like on pre-production? How is it?
Yeah, I mean, Guy brought me in. Guy Martins, who's not here right now, but he's the animation supervisor, and we've worked together for years at Goodbye Kansas. So we have like a great working relationship already. He asked me to come in and do the layout, and he's going to do the animation supervision. So he introduced me to Delcio right away, and we jumped on a call before, maybe when there was like a draft of the script written, but not the final draft. So I came in pretty early, and the first thing that Delcio said was, I need help planning the fight scenes. So for me to come in, it was really to try to understand, like, to prepare for set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. And regarding the production side, Rebekah, how can you, first of all, can you talk us through a little bit more regarding what TAOS is for people that are not aware yet?
Yeah, so TAOS is a film that we are making under, well, actually, it's now separate from The Trojan Horse Was a Unicorn. But this is how we're doing production for this film is that it's an open production. So anyone can look in and see the process of everything, and it is going to be community-based. And so we are seeking artists from all different ranges of experience, and we're also getting the community more involved in the process. So we're hosting projects, we're hosting contests for people to show off their art and also be part of the production. So yeah, it's kind of this open window into what it's like to be in a film production. Because most productions are very secretive, but this one we wanted to get more people involved, and so that is having people all over the world get involved. So it's really exciting.
And Rebekah, how can you compare TAOS to other projects like on the production side? Like, what are the challenges that you immediately see on having a project like that?
Flexibility. You have to be very flexible with everything, just because everyone is are coming in with different experiences, different backgrounds, different time zones, different work schedules. And so that's the biggest thing that, at least as a producer on this project, I've been having to I guess, adapt to, is the flexibility of this project. Not everything is it can be super rigid and straightforward. Sometimes we have to adapt our methods and our pipeline even. So I think that I would say that's the biggest part of production planning regarding TAOS.
Yeah, I think that production planning is definitely one of the biggest challenges. And do you think that this makes it more complex or more powerful?
I would say it's a mixture of both, because like I said, with the complexity of having different people on the project, it does make things, I guess, a little bit more difficult. But with everyone's different perspectives from being all around the world, their input on the film is very helpful, especially coming in with different experiences. We have people who who are like recent graduates, and there are people who've been in the industry for years. So just getting people, different people's their eyes on this project and on the story and everything. It's just really, it's very helpful.
Yeah, that's amazing. And now that we are reaching like this big milestone that we are right now, where we are sending like official instructions to GBK, I'd like to check with you, Christina. First of all, what were the challenges and what were the objectives that the team had in order to be able to work with GBK? What did they need to deliver to you guys? How was it?
So GBK, because we have our Mocap studio ourselves, and really the team that's been there are the same people who've been there for 10 years plus. Like, we're really sort of a well-oiled machine together. So we have a very certain way of doing things, and it's pretty tight. Like, you will get the storyboard, and the storyboard looks like the Previs, and the Previs looks like the shoot. Like, that's usually how we do things. So what's different about TAOS is that TAOS is about the people and the community, just like Thu. So there has to be a contest, because what Delcio said that he liked the most about last year showing up doing Everlasting was that all the people coming up to him and telling him how much it meant to him being involved in it. And I think that's what drew me to the project in the first place, because I wanted to be part of that community and part of that people aspect. So then you have to understand that there's a contest going on. And even though there's a shoot date before the contest ends, like, but we have like a good solution for that, because what we did is like, that's totally fine. We'll put the bones in. Like, for example, when you have to, so we'll set parameters. We'll have things that are structured, and then you can fill that structure whatever you want. So they can design the Pope however they want, but they can't change the joint positions. So that character is 220 centimeters, and that's it. And you cannot change like the width of the shoulders, and you can't change the height of the pelvis. But anything else, like, you're pretty free to go within the description for the concept. And same with the sets. So like, the set is designed with basically cubes or advanced cubes and measurements. And that's as far as the set goes right now. And then it's going to get totally dressed according to the contest winners and designs. Like, but it couldn't be done before. So yeah, so that's sort of the flexibility that Rebekah was talking about. It's like, it doesn't matter if I've done something the same way for 10 years. I have to understand that that's not what I am doing right now. I'm doing something else that's bigger than me. And then, okay, how can we do that together? How can we adapt to, how do we still get what we need for set accurately for good mocap, but we remember to prioritize the community.
That's awesome. Did you guys have to come up with new workflows specifically for this project?
Well, that's probably like a new workflow in a way. Like for me, it's because before I would have usually you would like get the concept art first. So now you're getting like a description and Miro boards and like references first, but you have to be okay with that could totally change. And as long as it's within the same proportions and scale and function, like we nailed down, like you can't go so far as to make a door knob into a door handle because that will change the animation, but you could do whatever else you want to the door. You can make it glass later. It's like, yeah, so it's a bit it's different.
Yeah, you're like literally working like as a reference, like with the matrix, you're working with the code. You have to make sure that everything is like on the same proportions, but you don't know the visuals yet. That's the like, it's kind of like the beauty of the project as well, because we're all finding out how things are developing, the contest that you mentioned as well, and the arts, the script, even the script, it's already it's something that's always under development. So it's pretty cool to see that. And you mentioned something that it was the first time that I saw the word Previs, which is previsualization, right? Can you walk us through a little bit for those that are not very familiar with the mocap system? What is Previs, previsualization? How does it work?
Sure. So what we really need to do with the Previs is when you start, like, we started making a map. I think that's one of the first things that he asked me to do was like map out the path for the opening sequence of where she goes. And I did something and he's like, no, more like this. And they're like, okay, fine. And then you go back and you start like mapping that out in general. And I learned some lessons actually, because at first I downloaded a lot of free models thinking like, I'll just get this out for free so that I can get into the part I do, like the cameras and the characters. And what we found out later was that was actually harder to deal with those bigger files. I would have probably been better off just like not have using an already purchased model asset. And that's just because I think I downloaded like New York City and it was like, no, this should be like more like very slim alleyways. So now I was like grabbing big chunks of like model and squishing them together. And then GBK, when they get their environments, they want them under 50 megs. And I was like, this is 3,000 megs. Oh no. Anyway, so the wonderful thing about Previs though is that going through that process of like, okay, so we have 5 environments and we have to send those to GBK because they need to know, well, if she goes down the street and turns a corner, like how far is she going before she turns the corner? And is she turning left or right? And then, okay, she's looking up at a balcony. We're going to put like a tennis ball on a stick for her to look. Is she looking at the first floor? Or is she looking at the 3rd floor? So you're really like, you're defining very realistic 3D spaces. And you have to make sure that they're sort of accurate because you're going to get the animation. If you go to set and something is not accurate, or if something changes later, that's why I have a job as an animator, because you need me to like come in and now like modify that. But I'll just clarify that when you're animating on motion capture, the goal is not to change the performance. The performance is the actor's performance with the director's direction, and the animator comes in to enhance the poses, maybe like speed up the timing or stretch the timing, bring in the faces, get really cool camera angles, and put it through. I think I've gone on a tangent from what you said. What is Previs though? Oh my goodness, I did.
That's fine. I love it.
What is Previs? Previs is the planning for the shoot, nailing down the story. Oh, I could have said this in like one sentence. And setting up the files for layout late. You're gonna have to cut this all together.
No, no, absolutely not.
and setting up the files for layout later. So like later when we get the mocap, if I've set up shot 10 with like a good camera angle and the right action, then we could take that action from set, drop it in, tweak it a little bit, and sort of call that shot prepared. So
yeah, there's a lot of different workflows, a lot of different people involved. And I'd like to ask Rebekah, how do you manage to stay consistent throughout, like, first of all, it's an open production, and also there's a lot of different perspectives. I think that's also part of the project, like having this type of difference between shots, but do you have like a roadmap to stay consistent?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is transparency, making sure everyone is on the same page. So whenever something happens or like anything new changes, just making sure that the supervisors know, so then they can let the team know. And so that is a big aspect to making sure everything stays consistent. And then also, I think what helps a lot is the camaraderie of this film. I mean, most people, I think, well, yeah, everyone on this film is doing it based off their doing this off of their own time, and it's mostly just like, yeah, volunteering their time to do this project. So I think that also helps with like getting in the mindset of like, we're just like one team and we're going to push for this film being the best it can, regardless of the difficulties we may run into. So I think that that aspect of the production also helps.
Yeah, that's great. Like, I have never worked like on a production floor that's basically a Discord server, but it's pretty cool to see how it's almost like an organic place. You know, it's constantly evolving. People are giving feedbacks. We have moderators, so this is something that it's pretty cool. And I've seen some new terms that I also would like to check, so everyone can stay on the same page. Can you talk us through a little bit about the USD workflow, Christina? What is a USD workflow? Because I think that this is something that's pretty important to a project like that, right?
it's a universal scene description is what it stands like, and it stands for. I'm going to say this in the basic of ways, and I'm sure my pipeline team would laugh at the way I'm going to say it. But it's basically writing out information that any program can pick up and use. So, I mean, it is exactly what it says, a universal scene description. It is. I've worked with it before. We still work with it at GBK, and you could work with it in different ways. So I've worked with it where you had a lot of control in Maya, and I've worked with it where it's a post process out of Maya, like it's something that just writes the files out to the lighters. So I actually prefer the second way, that that when the animators have less control is actually better for the animators. So we'll see how we implement it this time. But I think what's nice about it is because it's code, you do have so many really smart pipeline people coming in and making it work best for your team.
And how do you manage like versioning across so many contributors?
So we're going to use Aeon.
Mm-hmm.
At GBK, we use F-Track. So our system right now, until we implement Aeon, is basically a manual version of F-Track. So the layout artists are looking at referenced files. So they're bringing in reference files that are published, and the way we sort of do it is we have one folder where things are published. So you're not in the working folders of all the artists that could be very messy, named poorly. They're in their own, like, this is where you grab stuff folder. And right now it's just like a manual setup, but it is going to through Aeon. Aeon or Ion? I'm not sure how you say
Aeon.
it. Aeon. It'll be set up to use it properly, and then I imagine it's going to get like a lot smoother because you remove human error that way.
Oh, that's great. And I know that Delcio and Fernanda are going to GBK. They're going, of course, to Delcio is going to direct. He's going to spend a day focusing on the mocaps with the actress, and also one day with the stuntman. I'd like to check with Rebekah. How is how do you think that this will go out? Like, how is the day-to-day regarding those types of specific contents when we are working on the production side? Like, what do you have to make sure that's there and that's not there?
Well, I think with this process of like us getting to GBK and shooting motion capture, I think I think Christina touched on this with open production and being very community focused. There's just a lot of unknowns with with certain things, and so yeah, there's this things that may change like very last minute. And even right now, as we're like the last week leading up to our team flying over to Sweden, there are some changes that are still being made. And so, so yeah, it is a little bit like, again, the flexibility, but then also just understand that, yeah, things could easily change. But I think what helps a lot is just understanding that like this milestone is a really big one. And so the team, like all the whole production team knows that like after this, that's when we start getting things locked down. So it's like a little bit chaotic and we're embracing the chaos right now. But then like now that I think a lot of our decisions is going to be based off of the motion capture. And so once we get that data, that's when things will start getting a little bit more locked down and get more clarity on what our direction is.
Yeah.
Do we have like are the cameras, the timing, the blocking, like how much is already defined before the shoot?
It's as regarding the cameras and the blocking, it's very, I guess you could say, what's the word? I can't think of the word, but it's like very basic, I would say. We know like exactly like what shots and what our character Lavina and the characters like the Demon Pope and the 404s will be doing. But as for like camera movements, that could change a little bit. Delcio, I know that he wants to, with the different takes that try out different acting options. And so I think those like more nuanced performance, I think those are the ones that will be made, that will be decided on at the motion capture shoot. But as for the overall story and the blocking, that has been mostly locked down.
Awesome. And when preparing like the assets for mocap, and I think that Christina could help us on that question. What are the non-negotiables that you have to ensure to have like high quality data regarding, you know, even things regarding like joint structure, naming, time code? What are things that you need to be very specific of?
Right. So there's you have to provide a joint that has the time code on it, and that'll just have the channels, and that's for assets, for props, and for characters, because we want to make sure that later. So the first thing Delcio will do when he comes back from the shoot is take all the movie files, and they'll have the take names and the time code on them. So he'll put them into an edit. And once there's a version 1 of that edit, the layout team can start picking up the mocap and dropping it in. And that's why you would need the time code, because you have to make sure that they always match. So that's one thing. I mentioned earlier about the doorknob. You would want to know if you have to turn, or the handle. But I think also saying on what Rebekah was mentioning before about how some things are still changing, I think it's wonderful when we don't double down on something that's not working. So like one of the things that I was sort of thinking as well when I was putting together the blocking of the lab shot was like, wow, she's holding this drone a lot. And I know she has a bionic arm, but it's going to feel a bit hard to do and clunky. And I did have that feeling. And when our prop master, David Sagason at GBK, one of the first things he asked me when he saw the delivery of the prop was like, this is 50 centimeters. She's going to be holding this? And I was like, yeah. He's like, won't she get tired? It's probably heavy. And I said, and this is very common with props at GBK, is that you can't just give an actor, like for example, for Control 2, where they have this giant like hammer come out. Like, you can't make it realistically heavy, even if the character is a superhero, because your actor is a human being, and they're not going to be able to wield it. So it's sort of the same thing with the drone. So right away, I said to David, okay, no problem. That makes a lot of sense. Like, why don't you like make it the right dimensions, but make it lighter so that the actors can actually hold it. And then I went back to Delcio and we talked about it a bit, and he and a couple of other people were jumping in, and I think it was Scott Denton was like, well, you know, she could, oh no, it could be made out of like a lighter alloy, because it's like, you know, the future. And then Delcio said she could be defending it. It could be on the floor and she's like defending it more. So then we've entirely like, even up until Sunday when we were planning the shoot list, I think it was Guy who suggested to kick it across the room, or it was Guy or Delcio suggested to kick it across the room out of the fog instead, because I was like, well, if she's not holding it, it's not going to wind up near his foot when he stomps it. So what can we do? And so it would be so cool if it kicks out of the fog first. And then she's like scared because it'll create this tension that he's like going to do something to it. He has it. And then he walks out of the fog. And so like, those moments are wonderful, and they made the story better and they made the motion more realistic. Did they change the layout we did? Yes. But you can't be married to it at this stage.
And I think it goes both ways. Sometimes, like on the mocap shooting, you see some challenges that you have to adapt for the final project, the final movie, and the other way around as well, like bringing challenges from the movie itself to the mocap shooting. I think it's pretty cool, and it really shows how dynamic it is, like the whole process of creating this. And what do you think are the biggest risks when doing like a mocap like that?
The risk is that you wind up over animating if you didn't get what you want. So that is why when you go to a GBK shoot, you really should try to like look through the camera you want to use. You should try to, because that way you're not doing a big action in a close-up, because you would get something like this, right? So you should sort of know, like you should limit your actions to your plan of shooting. So in a lot of the layout that we have, like we've got like a rhythm going where if she's running, she's usually running left to right. And we have like a good mixture between like wide shots, close-ups, mediums. We're not doing like we have like a really good plan in place. Like we're probably going to change angles, we're going to change motions and stuff, but like we have already, like if she goes out of the door and goes up to the roof, how is the camera angled so that it tells that story without you noticing that there's time jumps. We're not going to show you walking up like 30 stairs, but we do have to show you those clips in a believable amount of time so you're not taken out of the story for her sort of climbing it. And that's a really funny story of how that even happened, that she climbs the roof. But maybe I should tell it later. I don't know. You tell me.
I think you can tell.
Tangents, huh?
I think you can tell, and if anything, we can cut it on the edit. But yeah, okay. I'm curious to know.
Well, it's funny. So this is like interesting about how the community comes together, because you know, when you're not doing the concepting first, and you're not really necessarily assembling the asset build team and the environment team first, so we're like picking up people who are ready to start. And we have Trevino, who was ready, eager to start modeling, and he was asked to do the helipad on the roof. And he just imagined it on the top of the roof. He didn't imagine it in the front. And, you know, Delcio said, oh, I actually imagined it in the front, but it looks really cool on the top. So like, all right, let's have her climb the stairs to the top. And it wound up being the perfect visuals for the dialogue, where she's talking about strength and growing. And then it was Maria and I, the art director, talking about, I actually, because we said, oh, maybe we could take it out and save some time. And she just goes to the balcony. And that was the original plan. But when she is climbing up, it's kind of symbolic. Like she's climbing a mountain. She's getting higher. She's leaving him on the floor. He's on. And it's a lot of cool visuals to put in while she's saying the dialogue, which is about growth and resilience.
But
awesome. It's a happy mistake. It wasn't the plan. Just because Trevino saw it that way.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing of having a lot of different people working on it, like different perspectives. And also something that we embrace in TAOS is mistakes, you know? So this is something that I'd like to check with Rebekah. How different is that from a traditional process, like embracing mistakes? This is something that Delcio mentioned in the first meeting that I had with him. And it's something that we've seen throughout the project. But how do you see that?
That's funny, because I think that's one of the first things that Delcio told me when I first joined this project, was like you can make, like, it gave a empowerment in that sense of like, yes, I can make mistakes, because then if it is a mistake, then we can just like shift it, you know, shift our direction and make a new decision, which really helped, which is very different from productions. I feel like, at least productions that I have been on, it's very much of like very structured and rigid, very step-by-step pipeline. At least that's the pipeline that I have been, I've been taught for the most part, and during my very short animation career so far. But yeah, it's helpful in that sense of like having being able to make mistakes, because then you are able to learn. And as for traditional productions, having that flexibility that most productions usually don't have, I think that is also what's very helpful as well, because we are, you know, very community based. So it goes hand in hand a lot in a sense.
And Rebekah, what has surprised you the most on working with a global community?
Ooh, that's a good question. What has surprised me the most? Just how like excited people are. I don't know. Sometimes like it is interesting when you go into the art industry or the animation industry and you're like, this is my passion. This is what I want to do. And then you get to it and you're like, okay, what now? Because it's still work. And I think that's like a thing that a lot of people like have that misconception. It's like, oh, you're going to be doing every single day. You're going to be doing the thing you love and it's going to be great every day. And it's like, it's still work. And so I think being part of this community as well as this production, just like this being very much of like a volunteer thing, so I think I'm just very surprised just like how excited people are, because sometimes like I feel like sometimes when people get into productions, it very becomes kind of like I don't know, not monotone, but but I feel like the energy so far has been so high from everyone, and it's been so encouraging to see that. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that I find very encouraging and surprising.
And do you think that this open model, do you think that that's something that we'll see more in the industry?
I do hope so. I think there is definitely a time and place regarding the having more of an open model versus being more like private and secretive about your projects. I think there is room for both in the industry. But I do see I was recently talking to my sister about I'm not sure if you heard about it, but the Epic musical. It's like this album series done by I'm trying to remember his name. I think it's George Rivera Herens. I'm probably offending someone right now. But but how he does these projects, this album series, is that is very community based, where he brings in talent, he has open auditions, and that he holds contests for who can create animatics to his music. And so, and like when he did this was like a very brand new thing, but I see more projects becoming more like this lately. So I definitely see it, there definitely being a climb of the, I think there is, again, like I said, there is room for both.
That's awesome. And Christina, if someone is watching us right now and thinking about joining TAOS, what would you say to them?
Oh, there's a recruitment channel. We need pipeline. We need character, right? Wait, there was another one. I could tell you what's like. I would try to recruit them. And I'm very happy that I was lucky to have a new recruit to the layout team who also works at Goodbye Kansas, Marianne Lauren. So that's going to be awesome because she's already familiar with the process, and the layout team is also like already wonderful. But you know, I did get to the point where I said, okay, we have a lot of shots and I need 2 more people, and then I could reach out to Inez, and Inez can put out like a recruitment call and bring me more people in. And I think that's super important because when people are doing something in their spare time, life happens. And maybe they all of a sudden get a job where they were free and didn't plan on that. And then I think it's good to have more people than less so we can spread it out.
That's great. And for our final thoughts, I'd like to ask you guys, why does this project matter? Christina, why do you think that this project is so cool as it is? And why is it so important for the industry, for artists, for enthusiasts?
Well, I had mentioned it earlier, but as Delcia was saying, it's what it meant to everybody who worked on it. So that was the draw for me. And I felt like there were 2 main points that I was seeing here, was that global community. We're not in competition with each other. We are a global community of artists. And I think so often if you go into a company, try to bring that mindset with you to a company, because like you're working with people all over the world and you want to foster them and you want to be kind to them. And so don't let the end product change how you behave to each other. So that's the first tenet that, as it was explained to me. And then the second part is that these people are crazy talented, like everybody on the show. I mean, we're making an art piece that's thought-provoking and high quality. So I feel very thankful to be a part of that.
Rebekah, what's your opinion?
Yeah, I think for me the biggest thing is the structure of the production, just being very community based, and the fact that we can bring anyone to help support this film is just really exciting. And I think Christina kind of touched on this a little bit, but just like the message and the theme of the film that we are creating is also very encouraging, especially at this, like during this time with AI and like the digital age. Like, how can we harness that into helping our art become better, not necessarily shutting us down. And so that message like very much means a lot. Means a lot to me, but like I'm sure also to the artist community too. So yeah.
Yeah, and the one of the coolest things is that the movie itself, the story itself, it's about like a digital oppression, and it's kind of something that we are almost living right now. So it has like a relationship. Even what we are doing right now as a team, it's something that, as you mentioned, it's very human, you know. So this is something that we should definitely highlight. I think this is one of the main achievements that we have with this project. All right, thank you so much for your time, Rebekah. Thank you, Christina. And yeah, if you are watching, if you want to learn more about TAOS, join us on social media. And of course, come join us on our Discord channel. We have a lot of stuff going on. I've learned a lot about movie production. I'm so glad to be part of this as well. I started the Discord server. I remember when we started setting up the rooms, and now, as I mentioned, it has become like something bigger than itself. So yeah, I'm also very glad to be a part and to share this with you. Thank you.
Thank you. So,
All right, Christina, I'll see you around. Once again, thank you so much. It was amazing
yeah,
chatting with
thank
you.
you. Really nice meeting you.
Let me know if you need anything. I'll be around.
All right. Take care. Bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.